In the last 2 years, a national dilemma made its way to the Modesto Metro Conference. News organizations such as the New York Times and Forbes have brought the dilemma of uneven playing fields to the attention of many. Our story focuses on the current Modesto Metro Conference League champion in basketball, Modesto Christian. They went undefeated in league play and won the sack blocking section title for a second year in a row. They then progressed 4 games into playoffs, ending their playoff run in the state quarterfinals at the Sleep Train Arena. Because of Modesto Christian's long-term strength for the boys and girls basketball program, people are questioning their presence in the MMC, a league that hasn't seen a boys basketball team go deep into playoffs in 10 years. And by going deep into playoffs, I mean playing for the Sac Kings section title in 2006. Modesto Christian was placed in the MMC last year after dominating the Trans-Valley League for 8 years. They moved up as a result of league realignments. We spoke to Modesto Christian's athletic director, Greg Pierce, regarding the decision for the move.
So everybody makes proposals, and they do that from different standpoints. And when the proposal was made for us to go into the MMC, which was done by the committee themselves, it wasn't the Modesto Metro Conference, they then look at it as committee, and then there's a decision made at some point by the committee. When you have larger schools, you have a chance of having more talent on the court. So overall, it was a win-win for us. Maybe the scores don't reflect it, but when you step back and look at all the things that go into games, yeah, it was definitely a win-win.
Well, it was a difficult situation because the Modesto City Schools wanted to stay together. We wanted all of the schools, the 7 public schools, to be able to stay in one league. And the CIF told us they were going to split us up and send some of us to play Turlocks, Atwaters, Merced schools. And then the other ones, the smaller schools in Modesto, would play maybe Oakdale or some of the VOL schools. We didn't want that, but the agreement was we'd take Modesto Christian. Well, that wasn't the agreement of the basketball coaches. That was the agreement of everybody else, the administrators more so than any of the coaches. So it helped all the sports except for boys and girls basketball.
From 1997 to 2016, Modesto Christian has won consecutive league championships. In their first season in the MMC, Modesto Christian not only maintained their undefeated league record, but they also outscored the Modesto City Public Schools by an average of 38 points. They extended their undefeated record this year and increased their winning point year average to 45 points over their public school rivals. These lopsided scores by a private school over a group of public schools calls into question Modesto Christian's presence in the MMC. Take note, only Modesto Christian basketball was added to the MMC. The other Modesto Christian sports were allowed to remain in the TVL because they weren't competitive enough for the MMC. This double standard not only contributes to a sense of unfairness, but suggests favoritism on the part of the CIF.
Well, Modesto Christian's a small school. It's a school of 150, 200 kids. They don't field every sport the way the rest of the MMC does. And this is a school that, for the most part, most of their programs, they wouldn't fit in the MMC. Basketball, I guess an argument could be made that basketball does not fit in the MMC as well because they are so strong. This is also a school that is really well known and pretty much across the country as far as a place where Division I basketball prospects end up, whether they're from this country, that some of them are definitely kids from other countries that move in. They're extremely strong at basketball, much stronger than their enrollment implies, and moving them to the Modesto Metro Conference, it places them against much stronger, or much larger teams, I should say, and it allows for our playoff format. It allows us to move them up to a division where they're going to be a lot more competitive, and they're not really messing things up for the much lower division.
Here's the difference between Modesto Christian basketball versus their other teams. Modesto Christian has a strong rate of success that attracts players from all over, a success that has extended over a period of 17 years.
Originally, for continued success, you have to win 3 in a row, and they won they won more than 3. And this is a rule that came into play probably 4 or 5 years ago. But over the last, 6, 7 years, they were kind of mired down there in Division 5 and Division 4, and putting in continued success allowed us to move them up.
For public schools, attendance area largely determines which players play for what schools. Gregory draws from an attendance area represented by this map. Private schools do not play by these rules. Private schools have the ability to attract players from anywhere in the world, and Modesto Christian is a good example of this, featuring players from countries such as Brazil, Taiwan, England, and Colombia. According to head coach Richard Midgley, who himself came from out of the country to play Modesto Christian basketball, currently has 5 students who have moved to the area and now live with host families in order to play for the Crusaders.
So a lot of times it's like you'll just get an email. So I'll get an email, I won't say every other week, but pretty close to that. Like this year, just because we're so highly ranked, I mean, the contact I've had has been crazy. So it's like students or players internationally that are looking to come to the States. What they'll do is they'll just look at rankings, see a certain school, and then they'll just shoot out an email or contact them that way. So that's usually how it happens.
The CIF has no clear answer on where to place MC basketball. In the meantime, they answered the dilemma by moving Modesto Christian basketball to Division I for playoffs by placing them in the MMC. When it comes to Modesto City Schools and their competition towards playoffs, it has become increasingly difficult to earn a playoff spot. After reaching out to all Modesto City Schools boys varsity basketball coaches, only Mike Vandermolen chose to speak to us. And, according to Vandermolen, the rate of sportsmanship issues has increased since last year between Modesto City Schools and Modesto Christian.
Comments made on the court, other coaches, other teams in our league had problems with direct, vulgar comments made to the head coach. Sportsmanship things during games were led to not shaking hands after games with another school. That's not Modesto City Schools. Character and sportsmanship is, I think the MMC emphasizes that more than any other league.
Realignment meetings take place every 4 years in an effort to reevaluate programs and school population and place them where they fit best. When it comes to MC, the perfect fit is yet to be found. The possibilities range for the team. As for now, Modesto Christian boys and girls basketball will remain in the Modesto Metro Conference for 2 more years. This has been Anaisa Medina and Austin Shirley reporting for JNN.